Globe Discoverer presents
Why Americans are leaving these states. Between July 2021 and July 2022, the USA population grew 0.4%. This was a big increase from the previous year's growth, which was 0.1%. However, while the nation as a whole grew, this isn't the case for every state, in fact. Some states are seeing pretty significant population decreases, with more and more people fleeing to go to other states, whether it's due to an increase in crime, high cost of living, high taxes, for job opportunities, or something else. Today, we are going to be looking at the reasons why Americans are fleeing these USA states. Number 10, California, coming in at number 10 on our list, which saw a population decrease of 0.29 between 2021 and 2022 for a state with a population of over 39 million. That's pretty significant. However, California's decrease isn't anything new. The Golden State's population has been on the decline since 2020, when the pandemic began and people quickly began moving away. The reasons for this are varied, but one of the biggest factors is the high cost of living. Most of this specifically has to do with the combination of demand for homes outpacing supply, along with a lack of affordable housing. Zillow, for instance, estimates that the average worth of a home in California is almost $742,000, far above the national home value of approximately $348,000. And with the median California household income being around $84,000, there clearly aren't a whole lot of households who can afford to buy here, while housing is the primary cause behind California's population decrease. There are secondary factors contributing to this exodus as well. These include issues like high taxes, an increase in crime, homelessness, and congestion. Number 9, Rhode Island. Rhode Island may be a tiny state, but its population decrease isn't. In fact, the state saw a 0.3% decline between 2021 and 2022. The reasons for this aren't as cut and dry as we just saw in California, where the primary driver of people leaving the state is the high cost of living. And in fact, for a while, people thought that Rhode Island's population was increasing, as the census actually overcounted the state's population by an estimated 50,000 to 60,000 people. But all that aside, the main reasons that people are leaving Rhode Island have to do with the slow economic growth, the ability for people to work remotely, and a high cost of housing. When it comes to slow economic growth, Rhode Island has struggled to bounce back after the pandemic. This situation has been so significant that there were even fears for a while that Rhode Island might experience a recession. While that forecast has since changed, and economists now predict that Rhode Island will only see slow growth, is still not a good thing. Additionally, the state's unemployment rate is expected to increase from 3.1% in March of 2023 to 3.2% by the end of 2023 and 3.8% in 2024. Then there's remote work. That one is pretty self-explanatory. Essentially, some people have just decided to embrace the freedom of remote work by leaving the state altogether. Finally, in terms of housing, while it's not quite as high to buy a home in Rhode Island as it is in California, that doesn't mean that it's cheap either. Here, Zillow estimates the average home value to be $435,000, which is still significantly above the national average. Number 8, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is yet another state that has seen a significant population decline in recent years, at 0.31% according to United Van Lines, a long-distance moving services company. The main reason that Pennsylvanians are fleeing the state is that they're searching for a new job out of state, as Pennsylvania is still struggling with payroll job losses in certain sectors. This desire to leave and find a new job somewhere else is understandable. One concern of this population decline is that Pennsylvania is suffering from a brain drain, a situation in which skilled workers take their talents and education to other states. In fact, one study found that Pennsylvania lost $1.2 billion in income between 2019 and 2020 because people left the state. Number 7, Mississippi. Between 2021 and 2022, Mississippi saw a 0.32% decrease in its population. But this population decline isn't anything new. The state also lost about 4,000 residents the previous year, similar to what we saw in Pennsylvania. Most of the people leaving are working age, and they're leaving to find better opportunities along with better amenities elsewhere. According to the University of Mississippi News, Mississippi is failing to retain these workers because the state lacks strong healthcare, good public schools, and even amenities like solid internet access. In fact, USA News and World Report ranked Mississippi number 48 out of all 50 states when it comes to the quality of the state's internet access. Perhaps unsurprisingly, most of this decline happening in more rural areas where Mississippi's larger cities have actually seen growth. Number 6, Oregon is yet another state that has seen far more people leaving than moving to it. Overall, Oregon has seen a population decrease of 0.4%, while most of this decline is from people leaving Portland and the surrounding Multnomah County. The entire state is seeing a decline. For instance, between 2021 and 2022, 21 of Oregon's 36 counties lost more residents than it gained. All in this has resulted in a loss of about 16,000 people. Now I will note that some of this decrease has been due to a declining birth rate. However, it's also significantly impacted by people moving away. The reasons for people leaving largely have to do with a theme we've seen several times so far. This is that with the pandemic, people have become able to work remotely and in turn have decided to do this outside of the state of Oregon. Other potential factors include a rise in crime and homelessness. If you've had all been watching news covering Portland of late, you probably won't be surprised to see this in Portland. Crime has increased significantly, and 2,600 downtown businesses have left the area, with some of them leaving because of crime. Meanwhile, homelessness in Portland has increased by 20% between 2022 and 2023 alone. Number 5, Hawaii. While we saw that California is seeing a decline in its population due to a high cost of housing, that reason is even more pronounced in Hawaii here. The median home value is over $836,000, while the median household income is about $88,000. Furthermore, the state has struggled with a housing shortage in recent years. Despite the addition of new housing units, this is part of the reason the population here has decreased by 0.48% between 2021 and 2022. But it's not the only reason. In fact, the state saw a significant decline in its population due to the pandemic, when tourism on the island, which accounts for 21% of the state's economy, was pretty much decimated. And while tourism is now back up and running, many people already made the decision to leave due to frustrations with the economy. Unfortunately, predictions reveal that Hawaii's population decline does not show signs of slowing down. Number 4, West Virginia. Between 2021 and 2022, West Virginia saw a population decrease of 0.58%, putting it at number 4 on our list of states that Americans are fleeing. Like some of the other states on this list, this isn't a recent phenomenon. In fact, West Virginia has seen a population decline for several decades at this point. Yes, I said decades, but that's a much larger topic than what we're going to cover in today's video. Today, we're going to be focusing on the state's most recent decline, in which it saw a loss of about 10,370 people. Most of this, as we saw with Mississippi and Pennsylvania, has been due to brain drain or working age people with skills leaving the state instead of staying here to work. This in turn has negatively affected the state's tax base and led to a reduced labor force. In fact, West Virginia's workforce is the second worst in the country, with only a 54.2% participation rate, and it seems that West Virginia is not providing enough incentives, at least not yet, for people to stay. For instance, Wallet Hub ranked West Virginia as 41 on their list of best states to live in, giving it particularly poor rankings for its economy, quality of life, and education and health. Number 3, Louisiana's population decreased by 0.8% between 2021 and 2022. According to one expert, the reason is simple. Louisiana is one of the poorest states in the nation, with a poverty rate of a whopping 19.6%. That means that 1 in 5 people here live in poverty. Because of this, many people, especially recent college graduates, are leaving the state in search of better opportunities. Elsewhere, many of these grads are moving to nearby Texas or other southern states, and as I am sure you can guess by this point, this has led to a brain drain. Interestingly, when it comes to Louisiana's largest city, New Orleans, there are 2 groups that are leaving. The first is those under 25 years old, and the second is those over 55 years old. The latter may be due to a lack of amenities for retirees in Louisiana, or because those 55 plus are following their children and grandchildren to other states. Either way, this has resulted in a significant loss of population for the state. Number 2, Illinois. Number 2 on our list is Illinois, which ranks only slightly worse than Louisiana when it comes to a population decline with a 0.82% population loss. If you've watched any of our other videos, you may already be aware of some of the reasons for why this is. According to data from United Van Lines, of those leaving the state, 30% were doing so because of a job change, 30% because they wanted a lifestyle change, and 25% were leaving due to retirement. Another major reason, which might be lumped into that lifestyle change I mentioned, is that Illinois has one of the highest tax burdens in the country. According to Wallethub, for instance, Illinois has an overall tax burden of 9.38, making it the 9th highest in the nation. However, it's not just individuals that are suffering from high taxes. Major companies like Boeing, Tyson, and Citadel have left Illinois as well, and the loss of major employers for a state is never good, as it leads to job losses and economic decline. Number 1, New York. Top on our list, or bottom, depending on how you look at it, is New York. Between July 2021 and July 2022, New York's population decreased by 0.91. Like pretty much every other state on this list, the reasons for this exodus are complex and vary, depending on the individual, but the top factors influencing people to leave appear to be retirement reasons, desire for a lifestyle change, a new job, health reasons, and high cost of living. I know that's a lot of reasons, but the most significant of them, and the one we'll focus on here, is the high cost of living. Specifically, a recent report found that New Yorkers are getting fed up with high taxes and huge housing costs. According to Wallethub, for instance, New York has the highest total tax burden out of any other state in the country at a rate of 12.47%. And when it comes to the cost of housing, things don't really get much better. In fact, the average value of a New York home is $716,000, and the median home sale is even higher at $800,000 as of July 2023.